Game 82 against Benny's name. You know what it is, Jason?
No, probably not.
No?
Maybe. I'll just add it myself.
Jason did it. Right. Smith. We get down off the table. Smith.
Yeah, we don't even need it.
In a word. Anyway, we are at the East Food Hall. I feel like totally disjointed. I was 12:30 start.
So
that's like biological.
we get in a routine. We do these games. Start 7 o'clock start. 4 o'clock we're doing this. 4:30 you're doing that. I've been wandering around here all morning trying to figure out what time it is relative to a normal time. It's just it's bizarre. But
it affects players too.
Yeah.
You have a rhythm that you get into.
I actually asked Scott Long about that yesterday. He did a little piece for Flyers YouTube channel. He loves it. He likes these day games. You get up. I mean, when you're a player, you get up in the morning, you go to the rink, you do your thing, and then really you go home at 2, and it's like 3 hours of all right. Some of them take a nap or whatever, but
my son, you mean all?
Yeah. I mean, so most of the guys, they get up here and they're just there, bing bang boom, game's done, and then your evening. So yeah, I think some of the guys like it just in terms of being able to not have to sit around all day.
I wonder if there's any. They had back-to-back this weekend. Both are day games today, tomorrow in Seattle, today against the Preds. But I wonder if the back-to-back 7 o'clock games or the back-to-back that's rough. I wonder if it's easier for the player or better for the players because they have a whole evening. When you have something come, that's the night game, right? Talk show or not. I hated it because all day you're having to go. So you can't truly relax. It's time to go to bed. So I wonder if that's what that plays into a player.
Definitely makes it better. And, it's not necessarily like today's game is at 12:30 because Villanova's here tonight at 8, so they need time to change things around for basketball. And then tomorrow's at 1 because there's some football game on tomorrow. So we're clearing that. So yeah, I mean sometimes the schedule just dictates this, and you can't. Like Flyers wanted to play tomorrow at 1, and the building was open the night at 7. They couldn't play at 7 anyway. You have 20 hours between games, 22 hours between games in the NHL. So you can't put a team out there at 1 and then at 7 and turn around and put them out at 4 o'clock next day like the AHL or something like that. So it comes along every now and then, but yeah, I think you're right. I mean, sometimes it's hard to get the energy going. I think if you're a road team player, but when it's at home, I think it might be a little bit of an advantage.
So we'll see today. It's the Predators tonight. This is game 3 of this 4-game series. They opened up the homestand with that game. It was Monday against the Islanders. That was the loss. Then the game on Thursday against Edmonton. I mean, it's a battle between that game and Winnipeg game, which is 4 any of those best performers here. And I would probably tip the scales to the Edmonton game. But because of the detail they played, we talked about this in those games. That was probably mentally exhausting game. It was mentally exhausting to watch.
It was, yes.
It was tension because you run 11-7 to do what you did. You just have no idea when Draisaitl or David can pop on the ice. It's not a third shift or something like that. But the way that they played the game and they attacked it from a positional standpoint, all the detail, didn't honestly. I'll be interested to see how they bounce back to this. I think the mental element of it is there could be a mental letdown.
Yes,
when you're not facing the game.
Definitely. And I think from the standpoint of how to execute that, the guys kind of know that. One of the questions I asked Lux is, how do you bottle that and bring it out every night? Obviously you can't. You can't just come out 82 games a year and just get on your concentration, especially things like back-to-backs and stuff like that. But, honestly, I think when you're playing a team like Edmonton, it helps because you've got these big names that you zero in on. Like, all right, we got him. And it was crazy watching that game because you roll out a guy like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on the first line, and then you put first shift of the game. And then you got Draisaitl in the second shift of the game. It's not even the third shift that you see McDavid. So you just got there's coming and coming and coming. Then you get a team like Nashville, and there's names on here that people have heard of, but it's a lot easier to lose track of a Matt Duchene or a Michael Granlund or something like that at Forsberg than it is to see McDavid out there and have him with a almost literal red light flashing over his head, like here's this guy. So they just have to figure out a way to try to translate that into a game-by-game thing, and that'll be a fun rest of the year if they can do it.
I love what George said. He asked about can you use this game and show kind of the detail and structure that the pucks for, and just being on the right side of the puck and doing great things without it as something you can talk about, at other points in the game. We refer to this.
Yeah.
And he said something interesting. He said, for Edmonton, we talked about the opposition. We talked about the opposition. And George is this guy that is a firm believer in, I worry about my team. So I can control what I have influence on my team. I can't influence the other team. But when it comes to McDavid and Draisaitl, you have to have a plan. And when you have a plan, they execute it. You come away with a shootout. That's what I'm saying. Shootout, Red. It's been at it. 2-1 game. And you go into this Predators game today, and look, they have some good players. They've one of the best goal liners in the NHL. Yeah. He's tied for 13 points here. Unbelievable last year. Excuse me. And you got good goaltending. You have some good high-end talent. You're looking at a player like Philip Forsberg, who re-signs there. Last year, Duchene had a career year. Granlund, a good home field. Right short-handed. Just stay disciplined, stay out of the box, and keep build on what you did the other night, and you got a good recipe for success there.
Torch said something yesterday in this media availability that got me thinking. He was talking about how they were doing that with Edmonton and talking a lot about them, and when he was done, he was worried that did we spook our guys? Did we make them think too much about the other team? And what it got me thinking was that the Toronto game back here before Christmas, I think it was, right? The Flyers, they got Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and all those guys. And to me, in that game, the Flyers looked spooked. Yeah, it looked like they were too worried about those guys and what they could do. And so, as a result, they would make mistakes because they were just kind of too amped up. Yeah, exactly. And I did not see that against Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. I saw the exact opposite. And, I asked Scott Laughton about that too. And, was it a sign of growth for this team? He said, yeah, it certainly can be. That you can, that's you're growing systems and how to play the game and yada, yada, yada. But also you're growing the mental side of things. And now you've got a bunch of young guys that realize that they don't have to, they don't have to lose their minds or get all worried when you're going up against these world-class players because you belong. You look at McDavid and you think, I don't belong in the ice with this guy. You're in the National Hockey League, you do.
You got to match.
Yeah. So, and I mean, again, Torch said that Noah Cates was out 28 of McDavid's shifts, something like that. That's a guess. That's not a hard number, but if that's the case, I'm assuming Lawton was out from Draisaitl. And Leon Draisaitl did not get a shot on goal. He had one total attempt. Well, and again, I loathe to let the facts get in the way of a good story with that, but he's had 22 games in his career out of 470 something. He's had 0 shots on goal. 4 of them have been in the last month. So I think you're right. Something's wrong.
Yeah. People think he's been great.
Yeah.
Something talks about quite a bit too. I get a lot of criticism for talking about defending and the need to defend and everything kind of starts from the scouting. And some people say he's all D, block shots, and he's not an offensive coach. I don't think that's true. I think Alicia's guys are sort of Columbus, but this team, Cam Atkinson had through the whole season, Jordan's there as well. And he'll let guys create offensively. But, when this team does make its way out really soon back into the playoffs,
Yeah,
Not being able
absolutely.
to win 2 games.
No, yeah, you're not trying to come out and get all flashy and stuff. Like I was talking to somebody about 2010 and looking back at those games and how either one games 1 and 2 in Chicago were so winnable for the Flyers in terms of if they had come out of Chicago with a 1-1 tie in that series, how different it would have been. But that first game was 6-5. Chicago was winning 6-5. Flyers actually led going into the intermission, second intermission. And then game 2 was completely different. It was a 2-1 game. It's like everybody settled down and locked everything down, and they went on a goal from Ben Eager. So that's more what you see in the playoffs is that kind of hockey. You don't normally see those huge 6-5 games. I mean, every goal is at a premium in the playoffs, and so you have to be able to defend and try to keep those goals down. That's what that's the kind of game the Flyers play really well.
That's exactly how
Yep.
they realized that they couldn't try and get to 6-5. They had to be able to get those 2-1 through 2. And that's why that's such a big part of that as well. We did the news yesterday and today. The Flyers waived Keith Bellows, assuming it's 12-11.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I was asking when it cleared because I thought Fridge had been tweeting around 2:00. And you know, again, we're gonna get in the lineup later, but it looks like Justin Braun is taking warm-ups. Looks like it's not there. Apparently, he played in Hartford last night. So I don't know where he is physically on the planet. But they could still play Bellows. That's the thing.
If he's not playing, the game starts.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can play in the 24 hours that you're on waivers. So that's what I was wondering. When does he? When is he?
Leaving to wait to see if they pick back to their spot.
Right. Yeah.
They have to send
Fun with the CBA.
As you said, he's not keeping the
Yeah, that's what the scuttlebutt is on Twitter. We're out here in the East Football. We can't see the ice, but what we're hearing is that he is not out there. Maybe it's in the park. It's one of those weird situations.
Let's take a time out here. On Flyers, give him
One shift away from the minutes. Come on.
Yeah, please. Him and Bristol. And we're at the East Football and this Flyers game day brought to you by Betway. Ryan Smith, Jason McKinnon back after this on Flyers. It's the Flyers and Predators here at Wells Fargo Sunday. Game 3 of the 4-game homestand, which will wrap up tomorrow with Dave Haxtell and the Seattle Kraken. Right now, this Predators team, Brian, and they're playing games right now.
Yeah.
Where they are right now. Flyers being really 3-1 without international. And right now, where they sit is 54 points, and 4 points back the Minnesota Wild for that final wild card spot, but they do have 2 games in hand. Those 2 games in hand mean nothing. Those 2 games in hand don't yield points.
Right, exactly. That's the double-edged sword of having games in hand. It's always nice to have some runway in front of you to make up on the guys in front of you. But if they've already banked points, then it's just a little more pressure. They are again 4 points behind Nashville, but point percentage-wise, it's a little bit bigger than that because Nashville's rather Minnesota, I should say. Nashville, so they've already got those points banked. So I don't know who Nashville's got coming up over the course of the back end of the season necessarily, but you get into a point there where a lot of those games are 4-point games. So if you drop one of them to a division rival or something like that, then that just makes it even worse. There's a need there for them to try to solidify this position right now because it's not just it's not just Minnesota. You got Calgary in there as well as 58 points. So you got a couple of teams. Yeah, you got a couple of teams there you got to deal with, and then they can also jump up into the divisional spot. Colorado's there also at a 58. So they have some opportunities here, but they do have some traffic to deal with as well.
Closer to the trade deadline, which comes up now 20 days away on March 3rd, on Friday of March. And just ask, are the phone calls picking up? Are the conversations picking up? The conversation was the issue. And he told me that there's 2 things in play. Obviously, cap space. Very few teams in this league are flush when it comes to cap space. So they need to wait as close to the deadline as they can because the prorated salary. And then a lot of teams also are in this LTIR situation. They have to weigh that as well because they don't know if their LTIR guys are going into the regular season where you have to make it.
Sure.
Or are they going to make it to the postseason where they don't have to make it?
No, I'm just too strong.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at it right now. Believe it or not, even though the Flyers have, a good bit of, they've got some big names not playing this season. According to Cap Friendly, they only have $2.8 million in LTIR space, and they're projected to be tapped out. So that is a hard position to deal with. But yeah, you're right. Like you go down the list here. There's only 5 teams that have more than say $4 million in cap space. There's only 7 that have more than $2 million. So everybody is paid up against it. You've got Arizona, of course. They're licensed to print money there. 18 million in cap space. Believe it or not, Buffalo.
Money earned in every other city.
Yeah, Buffalo has 18. So it's they do. I'm not sure when this all kicks in, but yeah. And the Flyers have the same problems coming up too with some of their guys. So it is. You're right. It is a bit of a delicate dance right now, and there's been a lot of lamenting of that over the past week because you see these huge deals going down in the NBA that make the earth shake, and you can't do that. That Tarasenko deal is about as big as it gets right now. Because of the hard cap. In the NBA, you've got the soft cap, you've got luxury tax that you look at. But here in the NHL, it makes it a little bit difficult, especially because it's been flat the last few years due to the pandemic. So we'll see where it goes. But there's a lot of challenges there. We're just dealing with the math and the economics of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, if the Flyers can use some of their LTIR space this year, they could be a team. 13 deal. Using its space this year to facilitate a buy situation. We'll see how that plays out. You can't finish forward this way. You got to build it. You can't just. I always say you can't microwave it. When you microwave food, it tastes like the microwave food.
There's 20 teams out of 32 right now that don't have enough cap space to take on contract. Not even the league minimum. Yeah. Seattle's got 574. and then there's 19 teams that have less than that.
It seems like trading don't want they want to
Yeah. Yeah, they're actually more likely to eat some salad. Yes, sir. That's good. That's good. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. Like, there's all this crap about tanking this year. Tank. That's not it. If you want to improve your draft position, get another pick. That's what you want to do. And right. And that's the way to go. But as we saw earlier this week, it takes Tarasenko to get there. So it's like, and then you want to, can you get a first round pick out of a bubble team that's trying to get into the playoffs, and then if they don't, you get the lottery pick. Would it be protected? I mean, there's all these things you can go to.
Position.
Yeah.
Let's take our last time to talk about teams and 11-7. That's what took you up. So not taking all 11-7. You make the combinations and much more. We'll take you right up to the countdown to face off. Tim Saunders and Steve Coates. The game action between the Flyers and the Predators. We're back after this. It's Flyers Game Day brought to you by Betway on the Flyers broadcast. Right, we're in the Eastern Hall. We're getting ready for Flyers Predators. Oh, that text letters. Guy says, "Hey, I'm Smith. I want tickets for the game. What does
I just say I'm just traveling when I'll grab it tomorrow."
Someone sent me that. Ricky Bow. I said, "What's going on, Bow?"
That's Highland.
Ricky Bow is in the house.
He is.
I told him to stop by. I don't know where he's at.
I know exactly. I know where tickets are.
Yeah.
We can just go over and see him later.
Yeah. So I know he said, "It's not even no prime. It's not even Smitty as a PBR guy."
It was cider. A lot of cider. Yeah, well, no, I just never liked beer. Well, that much.
Yeah. I said, "You don't need to."
Although that's come along.
You want to do the broadcast a solid, get Cozy a case of it back.
That's exactly right. And give it to him 25 minutes before the game starts.
Okay. Let's talk about line combination. Courtesy of Adam Twitter, running forward 7 days. Watt, Hayes, and Tippett. Cates, James Van Rijswijk, and Travis Connector. Frost, Araby, and Allison. Rowden, Delarier, and Winger in the game later. And then your deep pairs. Provorov and New York State get a blue. They do a good job on that. Really saying David in particular great in the neutral. His zone entries, nice stick plays. real good. Sanheim and Bristol Lion together once again. And the best game Sanheim's played a while. Sealer and D'Angelo, they just were on. So at this point, let's talk about Sanheim. Let's talk about him. And, he talked to me. I had him on the first permission about attacking his game and doing what he needs to do as a consumer, that he's jumping up in play and doing question. I said, absolutely. George said, I spoke to him yesterday. We've seen you do it.
Yeah.
Now you're probably be expected to
Yep. Now we know you can. It's like the old adage: if you don't want to do the dishes, drop a few. But no, yeah, and that's the premise that Flyers brought him in on. That would be part of the game. So it's obviously in this particular environment, especially, we've got coaching staff is preaching defense first. But Flyers, in the grand scheme of things, seem to have defense down pretty well right now. So it's time to see some of these guys start working on that part of the game as well. Because if you're going to do it and you're going to make mistakes, allow goals to the other end, this is the time to do it, not next year. From now to the end of the year is the time where you just go ahead and figure that part out.
push the pace.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think getting him back with Bristol Lion, who he has a couple of from last year, is knowing that your partner's going to be back there. Having two offensive guys, he and D'Angelo, is a tough problem because obviously Tony takes on a lot of risk. It's the push offense sometimes too quick. Doesn't kill the play completely because it's in a rush to get back on the offense, which is good when it works, but it's taking on a lot of risks sometimes. But Sanheim knowing he's got Briscoe, who's more defensive oriented as a protection back there, I think he's unleashing. I'd love to see him over these final games of the year really finishing strong play consistently, pushing the pace, joining the rush, pushing offense. If you can do that, that'd be a great sense.
This game moves too fast for you as a defenseman to try to contribute offensively while still looking over your shoulder to make sure the back end is covered. You can't. There's not a lot of time out in the middle of an NHL game where you can think. You've got to get to the point where it's muscle memory and reaction and instinct. And so if you're Travis Sanheim and you're trying to jump into play, but you're also keeping one eye on the back to make sure Tony D'Angelo is back there, you're not going to be effective in either play. You're not going to be effective in jumping into the play, and then you're going to get to the point where you're also far up enough that if something happens, you can't get back to cover. So you've really got to try to set it up so that doesn't happen. You want to be able to have something in place where everybody can concentrate on it. And that's the other thing that Noah Cates does to guys like Travis Konechny and Joel Farabee, that they can go ahead, and if they're on the ice with him, they can go ahead and take some risks because they know that Cates is going to be back there to be the eraser if anything goes wrong.
That's why Wingers love him in the center. I always said that. He was shuffling runs. He was outside his door. And Wingers saying, I can take this offense. I can really accentuate the offense. What do they say? War, soldier, think, you got it.
Right.
You have to know that the other guys
It's across sports too. I was reading a story yesterday about how Sirianni's doing that with his coaches. The situational football is a big part of what the Eagles do. They have to know when things happen what they're going to do. They don't have time to think about it. And he was using other sports in that scenario. He was showing some Phillies clips, NLCS clips when they were bunted against in a certain situation because of field conditions and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it's just knowing. But in hockey, it's so weird because, yes, number one, it's fast. So your situational play, you have less time to figure it out. There's so few situational plays in hockey. I mean, even systems are designed to get you like the first shot, the rest of it's a crapshoot. So you just have to know, instinctively what to do in certain situations, and that's why it's such a challenge sometimes for some guys to adjust to this.
Close work, and you got to be able to flow with it. Yeah. All right. Speaking of ebbs and flows, we've got Tim Saunders, Steve Coates. They've got Hamilton on the face-off. All the first period action, game 3 or 4 game homestand today against the Nashville Predators. Hey, dude, you're listening Flyers Game Day. What's that way on Flyers Broadcast Network?
It's a good catch. I swear we had 5 minutes left, 2 seconds.